Hi, ladies and gentlemen. I just wanted to give you a quick recap on what we need to get completed today, Friday, and here we go. So first of all, last week you guys did the motion number 2 quiz. Okay, so I'm just kind of refreshing your memory on that. Okay, we also previously have talked about velocity and acceleration, and in our Hot Wheels lab this week, we calculated the velocity of our Hot Wheel. We did that by taking the distance the Hot Wheel traveled. So for most of us, it was somewhere between 80 and 90 centimeters. Okay, and we divided that by the time it took for the Hot Wheel to travel that distance. Okay, we also then use that information to find the acceleration. So to find acceleration, you take the change in velocity divided by time. So we took that information, and then once we had the acceleration of our car, we were trying to see what effect did changing the force on the car by changing the pull on the car, what effect did that have on the acceleration of the car? And then the second part of our experiment was to look at how did changing the mass of the car affect the acceleration of the car. Okay, so we kind of went back and we were refreshing our memory on these ideas of velocity and acceleration. Okay, we also looked at the idea of forces, okay, specifically whether or not the forces were balanced or unbalanced on our car. We saw our car had balanced forces when it was stationary, so when it was either sitting on the table or when it fell to the ground, when it landed on the ground. Okay, so those would be examples of balanced forces. We also have balanced forces that are in the horizontal direction, right? When the car isn't sliding across the top of the table or rolling across the top of the table. And then unbalanced forces when the car is moving across the top of the table, when the car is falling down if it gets to the edge of the table. Hey, those would be examples of unbalanced forces. Okay, finally, balanced forces. Some of you guys had to hold on to your car to prevent it from moving. That would be example of balanced. And then when you let go, when you released it, those would be unbalanced forces. Okay, we also saw friction acting on our car. So friction is going to oppose motion. Okay, so that caused our cars to slow down over time as they were traveling across the surface of the table. Okay, also during this week, we were dropping our eggs, which was awesome. Some of you guys had some really interesting designs for your parachutes and did a fantastic job there. If you, for some reason, did not have your parachute this week, you can bring it in next week. That will be the end of it. So if you don't have it with you during advisement next week, okay, you won't get credit for that assignment. So make sure you bring your parachute with an egg with you next week if you haven't already done so. Okay. So we talked this week, and what you guys were looking at home specifically were Newton's 3 laws, the law of inertia, his law of acceleration, and the idea of action and reaction forces. Okay, so you should go back and review those key ideas. They were talked about in the science notebook. So that science notebook was due earlier this week. By Friday, which is today, woohoo! We made it through another week, people. We need to turn in the Newton's Laws video lesson outline. We also need to complete our Hot Wheels lab if we have not already done so. If you look in the Hot Wheels lab assignment, I have now attached a link to some YouTube videos. Those YouTube videos will walk you through several different parts of the lab, all the way from collecting the data to the data analysis and conclusions. So there are 4 different videos. Find the one that you need help on and use those videos to get this lab completed. And then the final thing that is due this week is retaking your motion number 2 quiz. So if you needed to retake that quiz, that is also due today, Friday. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's our schedule for today. Hope you guys have a fantastic weekend, and let's get that video lesson and your Hot Wheels lab turned in. I'll see you during office hours from 10 to noon if you have any questions, or send me a chat message. Talk to you soon. Bye.